লিঙ্কটা পাঠাবো ইনশাল্লাহ। আমি কাউন্ট করতেছি 10 9 8 7 6 ইয়াপ লিঙ্কটা পাঠাবো ইনশাল্লাহ। আমি কাউন্ট করতেছি 10 9। অলরাইট, আমাদের আজকের অনুষ্ঠান লাইভ হয়ে গেল। তো বেসিক্যালি এটা এখন লাইভ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। আমি একটু শেয়ার করি, কারণ আমাদের অডিয়েন্স হয়তো ওয়েট করে আছে এটা দেখার জন্য। আমাকে একটু সময় দাও, আমি একটু মিট করে আমি এটা শেয়ার করে দিই লিঙ্কটা, ঠিক আছে? ওকে, সরি, আমাদের এই ইনিশিয়াল কিছুটা সময় আমরা নষ্ট করে ফেলছি আমাদের সেটিং করার জন্য। ধ্রুব, তুমি কি আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
Yes, I can hear you.
আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। আসসালামু আলাইকুম। যারা আমাদেরকে শুনতে পাচ্ছে অত্যন্ত লজ্জিত, ভেরি সরি, কিছুটা সময় আমরা নষ্ট করে ফেলছি ইনিশিয়াল কানেক্টিভিটির জন্য। আমি লিঙ্কটা ফেসবুকে অ্যাড করে দিলাম যাতে আপনারা দেখতে পাচ্ছেন সবাই। হ্যাঁ, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমি পোর্টল্যান্ড অরিগন থেকে কথা বলছি। আমার নাম শায়েস্তেগীর চৌধুরী। আমার সামনে একজন গেস্ট আছে, ওর নাম হচ্ছে তাসিন সাফাত। সো ইনশাল্লাহ আমরা কাজটা শুরু করতে যাচ্ছি। এটা একটা স্পেসিফিক একটা প্রোগ্রাম। এই প্রোগ্রাম অডিয়েন্স হচ্ছে মোস্টলি স্টুডেন্টস এবং যারা ম্যাথমেটিক্স নিয়ে চিন্তা ভাবনা করেন, গবেষণা করেন, তাদের জন্য। সো আরেকটা জিনিস একটু বলে দেই জাস্ট আপনাদের জন্য, যে তাহসিন was born and brought up here, so যার জন্য ওর বাংলা এবং ইংলিশ একটু মিক্সচার হয়ে যাবে। সো আপনারা আমাদেরকে একটু ক্ষমা সুন্দর দৃষ্টিতে দেখবেন আশা করছি। So Tahsin, please introduce yourself to the viewers, please.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And thank you for having me on the program. I am currently a PhD student at UC Berkeley. I study mathematics. I finished my undergrad in 2018. By the way, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I finished my undergrad in 2018 from MIT, where I studied math. Before that, I grew up in Oregon. And while I was in high school and also middle school, I was involved with some math competitions. I was invited to the U.S. training camp for Math Olympiad, and I was very involved in that thing.
All right. So that's about you. My second question will be, I'm going to go into the main discussion. My second question will be, how and where did you get the passion for mathematics? And finally, your interest in Math Olympiad, because that's probably our direction is going to head into.
Sure, yeah. So I've been interested in math since pretty young age. Actually, can you give me one second? There's a little disturbance in my background.
Oh yeah, sure.
Sure. I'll be back.
Sure, no problem. অডিয়েন্সদের জন্য আমি জাস্ট একটু বলে রাখছি যে he will explain the process of going into the Math Olympiads, and his experience is tremendous. So when he comes back, we're going to actually go into deep dive into some good discussion. And as this is a live interview, I will expect some questions so that we can answer in live. Yeah, go ahead, Tahsin.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So you asked me
Your
what.
passion.
Yeah, that's right. So when I was very young, maybe even 4 years old, I liked mathematics. I liked adding numbers repeatedly. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. This kind of thing. Um, and also my father would keep a lot of very nice math books with sort of cute problems for kids, but still very interesting. And so as they were around, I would look at them. Yeah, so since I was very young, I really liked math. But I really started doing these competitions in middle school. Um, I was very fortunate. I had the school I went to. There was like a math club. So it's just there's math classes in school, but then after school there would be students would gather and there'd be a teacher and we would do sort of extracurricular, just problems for fun. Um, Introduced me to the idea that there could be beyond just the math you learn in school. There's these things called math competitions. They're very interesting problems.
So
That's how I got started.
okay, so what you are saying is during the middle school, which starts from 6th grade, that's where you want to start your passion or your love about maths. Is that right?
Yeah, that was the first time I encountered these math competitions.
Okay, okay, all right. My third question will be, what is the process of becoming a math Olympiad competitor? In other words, what does it need to be a successful competitor?
Yeah, so I guess the process could be different for everyone, but maybe I can say a little bit about mine.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it always starts from you have to really enjoy thinking about mathematics. So in middle school when I encountered these problems, they were really quite difficult. So when I went home, I would just think about them sort of, and as you at least in the United States, there's a lot of different math competitions besides Olympiads, just for like middle schoolers, very young students. And so I started with those, and I would think about those problems. And online, there's plenty of resources, so I would go online, I would find all these problems, and I would work through them. And over time, I had done maybe thousands of problems, right? So that's really what the process is like. You just like to do in your spare time. You like to think about these math problems, and then over time, maybe you found that you've done many of them.
All right. So there is no recipe or step-by-step procedure or thinking process to become a good competitor. Is that right?
So I think it's maybe not. There's no like step everyone can follow, but you need to have a passion for mathematics, and then also you have to be fortunate. You have to be fortunate enough to have access to the resources.
Yes.
So for me, I found online this community called Art of Problem Solving, where people online would just discuss math problems, and that's where I first started. And then later on, as I progressed in the Olympiad system, I went to the camp, and there's lots and lots of resources that were available to me.
Okay. My next question will be, tell us your experience in various math, physics competitions that you have been through. I know quite a bit about that. And you participated and some results, please.
Sure. So when I was in middle school and high school, so grade 6 to 12, there's a very common track, Olympiad track in the United States. So my primary experience was through that. And so it starts out local, and then you qualify to there's 2 or 3 steps, and then you take the Olympiad. So I think maybe when I was in 8th grade is when I first qualified for the junior math Olympiad. Um, and then in 9th grade, I guess I was one of the winners for the junior math Olympiad. And then, but that year I actually wasn't invited to the training camp. The following year was when I was invited to the training camp. So that's sort of the primary track. Um, but other than that, there was various local competitions at the state level, maybe even the city level that I did for fun.
Okay. Now from high school to in a college level, there are some other competitions as well. And I know that during the MIT, you have attended Alibaba and Loyal Putnam mathematical competitions. Those are difficult ones. Would you like to talk about those?
Sure, yeah, I guess I can say a couple of words. So the William Lowell Putnam competition is for undergraduates in the United States. That one is a fairly difficult competition. So I competed in that while I was an undergrad. I think I got honorable mention, so we some distinction. And then after undergrad, there's another one called it's very new. It's by the Chinese company Alibaba. That one's global actually. Anyone can participate. So I've done that a couple. But but after high school, it really becomes more for fun. After high school, you should focus on your academic studies. But before high school, I think it's really a very unique experience or a unique opportunity. The ones in high school and middle school, they really are like it's they offer you something that maybe you might miss in just regular mathematics courses as a young high school or middle school.
Okay, so if I take your word that yes, there are various steps of competitions, but you feel like that the opportunity and scope during the high school is much better, and also you encourage other students to take those. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I think it's very hard as a middle school or high school student to, especially if you're very talented in math, sometimes it's hard to find something that will uncover the beauty of math at such a young age. Because of course it varies a lot. You can get that sometimes people will get the sense that what we learn is the math we learn when we're younger, it's important, but it might feel like maybe we're memorizing formulas or something, but in math competitions, it's quite different. There's really no memorization, right? Every problem is very different.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
You have to really you have to innovate, right?
Yeah.
And for a young child, how do they know about innovation? So it's a very good opportunity to develop those skills.
Okay. And where do you think that you get the help that you need? Because like you said, that it is an innovation. It's not ready, or there is a reference that you go get it. So where do you get that help, or is it something that you just come up with all the solutions?
Yes, that's a good question. So there's a lot of, I guess where I first when I first started, right, a lot of my resources were online, and anyone can access them. There's online. There's plenty of resources. There's also books, very nice books. And then maybe once you get at a higher level, then it really comes to there are some, at least in the United States, there's the U.S. training camp, and in Bangladesh there's the IMO training camp. But when you just start out, there's plenty of resources online, actually.
Okay. Well, I guess many students don't know about those resources, or some, that's why people need some guide or coaching or some sort of mentoring, to figure out some other potential competitors, So it'd be great. And now my next question will be towards the balancing life, right? The innovation or
Actually, maybe before you move on, I did just put in the chat. I don't know if everyone can see this. The name of the This is the name of they have a website and they have several books that
excellent.
were useful for me when I was very young.
Very good. I will share that actually with the audience, and it's a live program, so people can see it, I believe. Now, one of the things that balancing the life that I'm talking about, it's a very important one, right? Being a high school student, you are actually, you have a college, the school expectation. There are some, when you get to 10th, 11th grade, then you have another pressure on you that, yes, I need to get to a good school. So there is a lot of things. How would you balance? I mean, you have this innovation, mathematics innovation that you enjoy doing it. There's a lot of time that you're spending to understand some of the problems that you just talked about. And on the other hand, you have some academic, commitment. How do you balance that?
So that's a challenge, especially in high school, because
yeah,
high school is a very stressful time, a very very important time. Yeah. Well, I guess what I'll say is, if it feels like it's one of your passions, it won't feel like it's time consuming.
Yep, I was expecting that answer, really. If you have the passion, you will make the time for it. Yes. All right, I'm going to actually go into little towards Bangladesh now. I know that the audience, 90% of the audience, or even more, is watching from Bangladesh directly. I hope. Over the 10 plus years you are involved in mathematics, what do you think about Bangladesh Math Olympiad team? Last few years, they have been doing quite well. Any advice how they can do better? Or start with what is your observation? And then probably you can have some recommendation.
Well, yes. First of all, it's very inspiring to see people from Bangladesh doing very well in the Olympiads. When I was an undergrad, I was very fortunate to be able to meet some of the people, like some of my good friends, like Mahi, Brishti, Surav, Sanjit. I'm missing people probably, but I got to meet a lot of them, and we were good friends, and it's really great to meet so many talented people coming from Bangladesh. Oh, so what was the second part of your question? You were asking me if I have some.
Yeah, I mean, you are in the United States,
Right.
and the Math Olympiad team from Bangladesh, they are coming all the way to compete, right? And obviously, there are some things that they could do or they can do to better. What is your advice?
Well, it's hard to give advice, right?
I get that. It's not an advice. I would say observation, because
well,
we yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can share one observation, which is so I haven't interacted much with the actual training process in Bangladesh, but I know that in the United States, besides just the people who go on the team, right? So there's the people who actually represent the United States at the International Math Olympiad, and then there's some training camp around it. Besides that, there's other like tons of like the Olympiad track, right? There are a lot of these, a lot of people will take like the local content or the entry level contest, right? So somehow the infrastructure is there not just to support the people who end up going and representing the country. It's there to support everyone, right? Because I really think that anyone who's passionate about mathematical problem solving, and who's talented can benefit from this Olympiad system. Not just the people who are, because I also never represented the United States at the International Math Olympiad, right? I never qualified for the team, but I benefited a lot from the whole system. So yeah, so having a lot of local contests, where, yeah, just this kind of stuff.
A very relevant question I would like to add. I mean, Bangladesh has been competing with, as you have seen, recently they beat India, the girls' math Olympiad team. And also they're competing with, some other notable countries, and they've become 20th, which is quite good. I mean, we're all proud of them. Now, I'm pretty sure coming from Bangladesh, I know there is a limited resource. There is all kinds of things that can happen, especially students struggle to actually even attend the international competition because they don't have much funding there, right? With all these things, I mean, obviously, you have seen some other countries as well. What do you think that Bangladesh, competing with all the international countries, they are doing that much? If they get the opportunity, what do you think about them? I mean, do you think the screening process or some sort of, if there is an infrastructure there based on your observation, is it something that you would like to suggest?
Yeah, I think there's so many talented people in Bangladesh. Just my experience in undergrad alone proves that, right? So I think it would be great, great if they had an opportunity to fully develop that talent.
All right. Now here comes the question. If you were given an opportunity to coach Bangladesh team, which is a difficult one, not that easy, would you do it? And what are the few things that you want to do to coach them?
Yeah, of course, if I ever had the opportunity to coach the Bangladesh team, I would be very honored. And I would want to, of course. Yeah, as for, yeah, I guess, are you asking what kind of training I would suggest? Or
Yes, yeah.
I
mean,
well,
with all the competitions that you have gone through last 10 plus years, I mean, you do have that experience, right? Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe I should say probably. I mean, I'm sure the current people on the team have a lot of experience.
Sure.
And the current trainers have a lot more experience than I do, so I would defer to them, of course. For example, I've never competed in high school. I never did any international competition. So, but of course, I think the training process, regardless of, it is always the same, right? Regardless of what level you're at, you look at past problems and you really understand, like, you do a lot of them. You start to understand what are the patterns, what are the fundamental, like, sort of ideas you need to understand if you want to be able to solve these problems. So I think the training process is really the same, regardless. But of course, physics, I would certainly defer it to people with a lot more experience.
Well, my intention was, when you have multiple thoughts, ideas from different levels, different countries, I know, of course, like you said, that the current team, giving them the mentoring, they're doing fantastic job, of course. But adding one or two, individuals like yourself would be even make it stronger. That was my intention to ask that question. Yeah. All right. My next question will be, in the next 2-3 years, how would you like to see yourself?
Yeah. So currently I'm near the end of my PhD, so I'm thinking about starting a career in math research. So I'd like to be a mathematician. So I'd like to do, fundamental math research at a university.
Okay. And just a relevant question goes to it. Please tell us about your research, because I know it's a very complicated one, and I'm really not a math expert. So make it easy for us to understand your research.
So my research is in a field called geometry. So this is so I know a lot of people, when I say geometry, maybe they think of what they learned in school. There's the triangles and squares. So maybe I do think about triangles and squares, but I also think about other things, like maybe I think about cubes also, or maybe things that are maybe not so easy to visualize. And it's a field that's really universally shows up no matter what you do, because geometry is really how you describe anything. So, for example, if you have like a robot or something and you want to describe its motion, you're doing geometry.
Mm.
If you want to describe the physics of the universe, okay, maybe that's a very cosmic problem, but you're still doing some kind of geometry.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of what I said.
Okay.
Not to go into too many details.
Sure. I mean, but you do have an endpoint that you want to achieve, probably another next 1 year or so. What's your goal? What do you want to demonstrate?
Yeah, so there's a specific problem I work on. It's called the Langlands program. It's a problem that has a long history. It's been around for several decades. And it's a problem that has a very large scope. It touches a lot of various areas of math, not just geometry. And I'd like to solve some problems. I have some specific problems in that area that I'd like to understand.
All right, and you are hoping that within the next year or two you will be done.
Well, inshallah, I'll be done with my PhD, but of course that's just the beginning of a mathematical career.
Absolutely.
As soon as you solve one problem, there's another right on the
Yep. Now there's let's get into a little bit of personal questions. So who inspired you the most? I mean, yeah.
My parents.
Okay. Tell us about your parents then.
Yeah, I can say so. I guess my parents grew up in Bangladesh, and they did their studies there, and then they came here for their PhD. Yeah, my parents have always been incredibly supportive of anything all my endeavors. I told you when I was very young, my father would sort of just have nice math books lying around for me, and yeah, of course, I mean, I can't have done anything in my life. So.
Excellent. So I would like to add, because you didn't tell your parents' name, so I would like to add. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, my dad's name is Saffat, and my mom is Shamim.
By the way, both of them are actually, to the audience, Buet audience. I know there is many Buetians are actually looking at it. Saffat and Shamim, nickname is Shima. They are batch 88 CSE graduates from Bangladesh, Buet, Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. And Tahsin is their first child. So he has a good Buet background as well. Okay. All right.
Actually, I did get to visit the Buet campus when I went to Bangladesh years ago.
Nice. Did you like it?
Yes, it's very great to see where my parents did their undergrad.
Great. I know that this is actually, I just talked about that a little bit, but I did see after looking some, I did Google search you, by the way. The reason is I don't know nothing about mathematics, basically. So I wanted to learn a little bit. What is the question I'm going to ask him? I mean, so then I looked at this, Putnam mathematical competition, which is significant to me. I mean, I just figured out it is probably one of the difficult ones. And I did say that you were mentioned as an honorable mention list in 2016, and I think 2017, maybe 2018, if I'm not, if I was incorrect. Now, this is definitely demonstrates the passion that you have. Of course, I mean, there is no doubt about that. And I see all the names, and majority of them are, Chinese born US, or and then you are. You see, I see that there is a huge amount of, or there is a number of students coming from China. What do you think about why students in MIT or some good advanced universities, actually Chinese community is actually more towards mathematics? Your observation?
Yeah, I guess I can say a couple of things. So I guess it's hard to tell from name, because
sure,
a lot of them are maybe Chinese-born
Yes, yes,
American students
yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
of Chinese heritage, but also some are maybe also um, Chinese students who are doing their undergrad
sure,
in the
sure.
United States. But I will say, I guess there's a huge Olympiad culture in China. I know
Mm,
maybe they have some system where even as early as like beginning of high school, students are sent to a different school if
yeah.
they do well in Olympiads. So there is that I guess investment. So certainly that helps. Yeah, and I think maybe just a part of it in the United States at least, is maybe this culture.
Okay, okay. The reason I actually put that as a perspective for the next level discussion, that can we learn some strategy, because they're very successful, seems like it, right?
Mhm.
Can we learn some strategy, and you can share those strategies to the audience?
Um, yeah. Um, well, first of all, I want to say, there's many successful Bangladeshi students I met through the done quite well. And
Sure.
um, strategies. I don't know. I feel a little strange commenting on that.
No, no worries. If you feel like it, no worries. I was just actually trying to see if actually what make them better competitors. Is there any strategic learning that we could take? I mean, it doesn't need to be Bangladeshis, or because the audience, my audience are all Bangladeshis. That's why I'm trying to actually see if there is something that they can think about it. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just say, everyone I encountered, Chinese or not, in the who really liked to do these contests, they were really very passionate about math, and they had excuse me, they had the resources from a very young age.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
that certainly helps a lot.
Very good. Very good. Actually, you covered a lot of good questions. And to my views, our audience at your age or even junior, they have looked at it, or even they have not looked at it, probably they will, because this program will be recorded. And I encourage you to keep yourself available for the mentoring program, obviously, because your expertise and your experience and passion probably will help more. And as a senior, I would appreciate and I would encourage you to engage yourself in the mentoring program. I have discussed actually a few of my friends and colleagues at Princeton University. Actually, they formed a program, mathematics-based program, and later on, probably you will be talking to them hopefully very soon, and they are watching it. I'm pretty sure that they're watching it. So this discussion will help. Is there anything that you want to talk about to the audience? We are actually in the last few moments, so I would let you make yourself talk to them, and let them hear you.
Yeah, I guess, is there any questions from the audience for me? Is that
Oh, by the way, I intentionally stopped the questions. The reason is there is a lot of questions coming, so we couldn't even finish this meeting within this 40 minutes. But at least in generic, I see the questions are coming more towards you share your knowledge. You already did. You share your knowledge to be successful competitors, and if there is any resources available, all kinds of questions that came in. I think you already covered it.
okay? So maybe I sort of say a couple of things, which is, first of all, for all the young students out there who are middle high school age, who are very passionate about math, um, I'll say, pursue your passion as much as you can. It really that's an investment that always is giving return. Like really, what I learned from these math competitions, it has nothing to do with winning or losing, but what you learn from these, it really is, it's almost surprisingly incredibly helpful, and like powerful. You know, even in college, it helped me a lot through like the things I was learning in college in math, physics, computer science, well, all these technical fields. And then maybe I'll also say is for people who are more on the organizing side or the teaching side, you know, having these resources for students is really great. Like something very simple, it's like a math club or like a math circle. These are fairly common. They're not necessarily about competitions. They're just about discussing sort of mathematics, but not in the standard, you know, trajectory of academic trajectory, but you know, more of this problem solving oriented stuff is really great for students. And there's tons of resources you can just find online. I can give more specifics to anyone who's interested, but there's tons and tons of resources online. Maybe some book called Math Circle Problems.
Great. Thank you so much for the time. And I know that you are a busy person. I know that you are actually working hard for your PhD level work, and you're now you're at home, but you'll be leaving soon. So I don't want to actually keep you that long time. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your time. And also, there will be a request to you maybe later on to answer some of the questions. So I will you know, summarize the question to you, and then once you get a time to put this together as an answer, I will actually post it.
Okay, great.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for you know, giving your time and having me on the program. I really appreciate it.
It's an honor to have you live to the community. Thank you so much.